When I bought my Panasonic full-frame camera, I faced a dilemma. Since I wanted to have a zoom lens, I was not sure if I should opt in for the proven performer, the 24-105, or if I should go for the new flagship, the 24-60 f2.8. And then I went on YouTube and I tried to find a side-by-side comparison, but there was nothing. You get videos about each individual lens or comparisons to Sigma, but nothing that compared these two lenses directly with each other. So I did what every irresponsible nerd would have done. I bought both. But according to my credit card statement, only one of these lenses can stay, and one will have to send straight to eBay. Hi friends, Dirk here, thanks for tuning in and for helping me to make this decision. On my channel I talk about cameras and lenses, and in my videos I also show close-ups and details. So minimum focusing distance and magnification are a big deal to me. The 24-105 gives us a minimum focusing distance of 30 cm throughout the entire zoom range, so at any focal length, which gives us a surprisingly good macro ability, great for B-roll and for product shots. And just for clarification, the minimum focusing distance is measured from the sensor to the subject, not from the front element of the lens. On paper, the 24-60 sounds even better because we can get as close as only 19 cm. But in real life, this works only at 24mm. As soon as we zoom, the magic is gone. And at 60mm, we are already over 30 cm away from our subject. So fully extended, the minimum focusing distance is almost the same as here, but we're missing out on 45mm extra focal length. To put this in numbers, the magnification we're getting from the new lens is 0.22 to 0.3, versus here these extra 45mm reach give us a 0.5 magnification and a 1:2 macro reproduction ratio, which is amazing. Clearly the 24-105 has better macro abilities and also better magnification, but I think for what I do, lens reviews, camera reviews, the 24-60 also gets me close enough. Although the optical design is different, both lenses have a very similar build quality. We have a 77mm front filter size. Both have the exact same lens hood. The zoom ring extends to the outside, and both are made of plastic. Both are dust and weather sealed. On the 24-60mm, we have a focus lock button, and on the 24-105mm, we have a zoom lock. The 24-105mm lens is larger and is also heavier. They are both parfocal, so you can zoom, you can change the focal length without losing focus. But there's one difference. While on both lenses the focus ring goes super smooth, the zoom ring is very different. On the 24-105 it is super smooth and I wouldn't say creamy, it's not as good as on a Sigma lens, but it goes well. On the 24-60 there is a certain stutter and it doesn't go as smooth as on the 24-105. Now I may just have a bad copy, this might be just a QC issue on my lens. So I'd like to know from you, if you own this lens, do you have the same problem or is it just me? But because of that, this lens doesn't give me the confidence to zoom while filming. I tried while the camera was mounted on a tripod and even this footage is stuttery and shaky. So it looks like zooming while filming handheld is not an option. Why is the 24-60 on back order everywhere? Why is it so in demand? Well, it might be the f2.8 consistent aperture. And that really can give us an advantage in terms of low light and also out of focus backgrounds and bokeh. In photos, the difference is very noticeable, especially when we're looking at bokeh balls. At f2.8 they are nicer. But as soon as we stop it down to f4, the bokeh on both lenses is very similar and also the bokeh balls look very alike. Well, I guess it boils down to your personal preference and shooting style. Personally, I understand that I don't really need an f2.8, but I prefer it and I like the nicer, creamier out of focus backgrounds. In low light, the 24-105mm actually would take the win because we have this. active stabilization on this lens that you can pair up with your in-body stabilization of the camera. That gives us 1.5 stops extra in stabilization. Here is footage that you can compare side by side. Do you really notice which one was shot with stabilization set to on and which one was shot with the 24-60? Since the Lumix cameras have such a great active stabilization, the difference between those two lenses is not that noticeable. In the next test, I'm going to walk towards both cameras. They are here side by side. If you'd like to pixel peep, you can pause the footage. I highlighted the frames that were out of focus, but in general I have to say that both lenses performed very similar and pretty good. Both lenses have an acceptable amount of focus breathing, which varies by zoom range. Sharpness is where it gets interesting, and here the 24-60 pulls ahead at every focal length and every f-stop. The 24-105mm has some color fringing on the edges and the corners are rather soft, especially at the wide end until we stop it down to f6.3. After 50mm the center sharpness drops a bit, but the corners improve. This being said, the differences in real-world footage are less dramatic than on a test chart. Sometimes I just put my camera on a tripod, set it somewhere in a corner and let it roll while I'm shooting with the other camera, and that gives me great B-roll footage. And for this purpose, good corner sharpness is definitely an advantage. When it comes to Sunstars and flaring, the 24-60mm f2.8 has an advantage. Neither of these lenses has serious issues with chromatic aberrations. And also longitudinal aberrations look very similar at every zoom range and f-stop. The price difference is significant. The 24-60 retails around $900 and the 24-105 around $1,300. I bought my 24-105 for less than $1,000 on a sale, and if you're leaning towards this lens, I would recommend for everyone to wait a couple of weeks till Black Friday, because this might save you a few $100s. So with this all in mind, I have to make a decision. I don't think it's in my cards to keep both lenses. I think one of them I have to sell on eBay. And I'd like to know from you what you think. Which one should I keep? Which one should I sell? Of course, I get more money when I'm selling the 24-105, and I bought it for a really good price. Do you think the 24-60 will do the job? The majority of the time, my cameras are on a tripod, so active stabilization in a lens is not really important. The question is, do I get close enough with the 24-60 for product photos or videos? So I have to figure this out. Overall, I like the image quality coming from the 24-60, but again, I'm missing out on 45mm reach, and that can help a lot. Thanks so much for all your help, I really appreciate it. I think we have a couple of weeks before I have to make a decision, and whatever we decide on, I will actively use this lens for my future videos. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel, it would mean a lot to me. Till the next time, stay safe, stay tuned, and take care. Bye for now.